Listen now of a time long past when sorcery thrived and wild adventure was forever in the offing. A deadly sorcerer is called out of nightmare by a ruthless king driven into evil. And a mystical sword is forged for a mighty warrior who rises out of legend to topple a kingdom. The Sword and the Sorcerer.
I myself raised from the dead. Little did I know what I left was upon the world. Tell us where he is and save us all. Now, you want me to snatch your brother from the king's dungeons for one night with you? That's a slim bounty for such a task.
Why, you bastard!
Time. One man will control the entire civilized world.
Cromwell's power, Cromwell's bride, and Cromwell's flesh!
A titanic struggle between good and evil that determines the fate of an entire dynasty. Dungeons and dragons, serpents and splendor, wizards and witches, danger and desire. And the mightiest of all heroes, in the greatest of all adventures. The Sword and the Sorcerer.
Right, hey up, it's Steve from that old Yorkshire geek, and welcome to Magnificent Mondays, where I look at some of my favourite films. This week we're looking at The Sword and the Sorcerer. I nearly forgot what it was called then. Not The Sword and the Sorcerer. My little thing there. Oh, there. It cut off the last R. Never mind. But that was a trailer which practically showed the best bits. But it's a cool film. I really like it. It's it's not exactly PC. It wouldn't get made today, but we'll see that when we get into it. So, some information about The Sword and the Sorcerer. By the way, before we start, welcome to Win Grace. Win Grace is here already, and he says swords are cool, and they are indeed. And Archmage Frey's here over on Twitch. Never see him in the same room, Win Grace and Archmage Frey. Are they the same person? Who knows? I am, that is. Thinking he's a burning bush or whatever. But he's that mysterious man from Twitch, so he says things like that. Before we start, don't forget, like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell if you're subscribed already. We're live on YouTube. Just let me double check and make sure we are. I've already checked, but I just want to make sure we are. Yes, we're live on YouTube and we're live on Rumble. Yeah, it's working this time. It's a bit hit and miss these days, is Rumble, isn't it? And we're live on Twitch because Archmage Frey's there. Right, so later on I'll be uploading it to Spotify, Amazon Music Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Hang on. Let me move things about. I'm also on Facebook, X, and Twitter, Instagram. Links in the description, as are the links to my 2 books. Mercury Rapids, a light-hearted sci-fi action adventure about UFOs and stuff. I had a phone call tonight about this from one of these dodgy companies. I think he said Gotham Publishing. I think they're a dodgy company. I said, I'm busy now. He said, can I phone back tomorrow? He says, yeah, you can. At the same time, so I'll just not answer the phone. I just can't be bothered with them. And Silent Predator, a short horror novella about big cats eating people in North Yorkshire on Amazon, Kindle and paperback. Give them a whirl. I've lowered the price. I finally managed to lower the price on Mercury Rapids by about £2. I don't know, couple of bucks, dollars. So it's a little bit cheaper now. So give it a whirl. Right, so off we go. And there we go. That's the film that we're doing. Sword and the Sorcerer. This is the DVD version. I haven't got it on Blu-ray. I've looked for it, but I think it's a bit expensive. So I'm not paying through the nose for it. Right, Sword and the Sorcerer, 1982. It came out just before, a couple of months actually, before Conan. Some people have claimed it's, cashing in on the Conan the Barbarian success. But it actually came out before then, before Conan was released. And it was actually the most successful independent film of 1982. How much did it make? Just under $40 million off a $4 million budget. So it did pretty well. The debut feature film, directorial debut, whatever, of Albert Pyun, who passed away just under a year ago, which is very sad. The Hawaiian native. This was his first film. He co-wrote and directed it. It was produced by various people, but mostly Brandon Chase, because at the beginning of the film it says a Brandon Chase film, even though it's an Albert Pyun film. But he was the producer and wanted his name front and centre. It stars Lee Horsley, Kathleen Bella, Simon McCorkindale, George Maharis, is that how you pronounce it? I don't know. And Richard Lynch. And the cast of thousands. And the music, it's got pretty cool music, although apparently Albert Pyun wasn't keen on the music for this. Apparently he used the Superman, John Williams Superman music for the temp tracks, and he preferred that to the actual score that was written by David Whittaker. But it's actually a pretty good score for this on this film. Right, so off we go. What else? Have we anything else to say about it? No, it's a bit of a cult film. It got pretty bad reviews. It's not the best film ever. At the end, we'll get to that. We'll get to that at the end. It says, Talon. The main character is called Prince Talon, or General Talon. And at the end of the film, it says Talon will return in Tales of an Ancient Empire, and he did, kind of, in 2012, in a film called Tales of an Ancient Empire, which was terrible. It was bloody awful. Lee Horsley briefly appeared in it, but the main star of the film was Kevin Sorbo, but it's a terrible film. Terrible film. Right. Windgrace, Gotham Publishing from Wyoming, USA. That place that has a house as their Google pick. I have no idea. I don't know. Anyway, so I presume it were going to go on, this Gotham chap, we're going to go on and try and, sell me a service. We're going to say, we can, for a fee, we can push your book and promote it and get it made into a film and stuff like that. They always do, for only $5,000 or whatever. And anyway, I'm sure it'd get round to that. I've had it before. I think there's another one. Is it something like Westfield or Westbrook or something like that? Publishing, there's a similar sort of thing. They're all the same. It's a scam. Right, so let's get on with the film, shall we? As usual, I'm not just be watching the film because I get into trouble. It's not Patreon after all, which I do watch stuff on Patreon. Put myself in a little corner and just play the film. Usually all black and white ones, because I've got a Patreon page. Speaking of which, where's my banner? There we go. Got a Patreon page of me lone patron so far is Archmage Frey, that mysterious man, not only from Twitch but Patreon as well. I keep putting stuff up, and hopefully people will wander along and find it. My latest one, I watched a Doctor Who thing, Terror of the Zygons, or Doctor Who and the Loch Ness Monster, it's also known as. So that were up, I put that up the other day. So there we go. So, press the wrong button. Press the wrong button. I'm an idiot. There we go. Right, so let's get on with the film, shall we? Let's get on with it. I'll make myself titty tiny. There we go. Did it, and I'll share the film. Right, off we go. Right, so soft music. Right, soft music. So let's get on with it. There we go. Robert S. Bremson presents The Sword and the Sorcerer. It is a cool logo, I must admit. It is a cool logo. And you can see the sword in question. Although the best sword in the film, some people say it's this one. Yes, subscribe to Patreon, says Archmage Frey. The best sword in the film, technically, is the baddie's sword. But the coolest sword is the one owned by Talon. With its 3 blades, the famous sword with 3 blades. Right, off we go. Shut up. Oh, I forgot to mute it. Noisy bugger. Shut up. Right, so there we go. Starring Lee Horsley. I think also before that he said a Brandon Chase film. And I was watching, I was thinking, hang on, it's supposed to be an Albert Pyun film. So I had to do a quick bit of research. And I think it says it on IMDb somewhere. Where is it? Where are we? Oh, where have I seen it? I've seen it somewhere. I've seen it somewhere. There we go. While Albert Pyun criticises Brandon Chase's interference as a producer and the conflict that followed, he points out that the executive also defended the filmmaker against others and ultimately supported the film. He name-checks directors including Paul Bartel and other New World Pictures talents as being upset that this guy from Hawaii who doesn't know shit about making a movie was getting a feature rollout. All of that said, Chase didn't want to give Pyun final credit note. Final credit, note the opening card, calling this a Brandon Chase film, which it does. But it's actually directed by Albert Pyun. Right, where were we? I was going to say something else and I forgot what. Never mind. What else has Brandon Chase done? I have no idea. Let's have a look. See if we can look him up. While we're at it, he hasn't got a Wikipedia link. I'll have to go back into IMDb and have a look in there. Just bear with me. We're live. Who cares? Who cares? Come on, Brandon Chase, where are you? I'm going to have to go into all cast and crew, aren't I? Right. Come on, producers, where are you? There we go. Brandon Chase. What else has he done? Let's have a look. What else has he done? Is that it? Oh, no, there's more here. There's more here. My brother's watching. Hello, Paul. How you doing? He's joining in for The Sword and the Sorcerer, because that's the sort of film my brother likes to watch. He did a documentary called UFOs Are Real. It was produced on Alligator, which I watched recently, back in 1980. It's a jolly wheeze. And did Alligator 2 as well, The Mutation, which I've never heard of. He hasn't done a lot. Is he still alive? I have no idea. No, he's not. He died in 2020. Age 90. So he had a good run. But he didn't direct a great deal. I think, I say Alligator and The Sword and the Sorcerer are his 2 big films. Right, so that's that out of the way. Right, off we go. Off we go. Who say move it? Oh, it's somebody in the film. Right. So, we get a Simon McCorkindale. Speaking of Simon McCorkindale, we get a Simon McCorkindale voiceover telling us all about what's going on. There's Richard Lynch as Cromwell, blah, blah, blah. Richard Moll there plays the baddie. One of the baddies. The sorcerer of the title. Zusha of Delos. In Delos, the place that Westworld is. And Anthony DeLonghi, you may recognise that name if you're a Star Trek fan. He's played various people in Star Trek, but I think he's most famous has been Marge Culler in Star Trek Voyager. But he was also in, what do they call it now? Star Chaser, The Legend of Arnie. He did the voice of the baddie in that. And there's somebody else I wanted to look up as well. By the way, in this he plays Rodrigo. By the way, yes, that's what I want to look up. Right, where were we? There we go. So the voiceover begins. I'll just play it a bit. And yeah, Simon McCorkindale's voice there. Lo, you now of days long past. Or stuff like that. When sorcery thrived. And there we go. Veiled in the mists of legendary. Is that a word? You know, in that sense, you know, there's legendary things, isn't there? You know, oh, that is a legendary tale with an A in it, between the D and the R. But legendary, I don't think that word exists. But anyway, we see these chaps in a boat coming onto shore. Yes, poor Seska. Poor Seska, says Wingrace. I actually like Seska. She was a good baddie. A lot of people didn't like her, did they? But I thought she was cool. And Martha Hackett were kind of hot. I thought she was anyway. Right, so I think I've got her autograph. I think. But I don't know if I met her to get it. A lot of my autographs I buy, like, you know, or in like online and stuff. But some, you know, a few of them I have got in person. Anyway, right. So there we go. There's Richard Lynch as Cromwell, King Cromwell. I'm a bit confused about this character. Where we learn that he wants to retake the kingdom of Aedan, which is ruled by the good and wise King Richard, as we'll find out in a bit. So was he the ruler of Aedan before, and all that? But I don't know. We'll get to that. There, Wingrace has been Googling again. Look. Definition of legendary, as in mythology, the body of customs, beliefs, stories, and sayings associated with a people, thing, or place. Well, okay, fair enough. It is a word, but it's a stupid word that looks like it shouldn't exist. Oh dear. I'm a writer, you know. I used to be. I haven't written anything for ages. Right, so they break through these rocks and get into this tunnel. It's very beautifully shot, by the way, is this film. You know, cool lighting and all that. Anyway, they come into these caves. I think a lot of the cave scenes in this were filmed in the Bronson Caves. Is it Bronson? I think that's what they're called. In California, just outside Los Angeles. Most famous for being the Bat Cave in the 60s Batman. But I think it were also used in one of the Evil Dead films. I think it's maybe Evil Dead 3, Army of Darkness. I think that they used the Bronson Caves, I think, where they hid Ash in his car. Oh, the phone's ringing. Can't answer it. I'm busy. I'm doing stuff. Whoever it is phoning me. Right, so they're getting through this in these caves. I'm going to have to check out. I'm going to have to check who's trying to get in touch with me. Bear with me. Hang on. We'll put the back in a minute thing. Just bear with me. I do apologise. Right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Family stuff going on. Tough. They'll have to do without me. Right, where were we? Right, they've got into this cave. Right, they're into this is Zeus's tomb. It's called Tomb Island, by the way, a rocky crag at the edge of the world, which sounds cool, doesn't it? Right, so there we go, directed by Albert Pyun. So they approach this like a sarcophagus with all faces carved on the side, and they brought this woman who's a witch and said, get on with it, witch. They call her that, and that's I don't know who he is, but he's got a very distinctive face, hasn't he? I don't think we see him again in the film. But anyway, she does a thing here. She puts this on the table and mistimes her actions. If we watch, ready? There we go. I think she's supposed to do that first, and then the sparks to come off. Well, close enough. I bet they couldn't do a second take. So she does that, and then she says some magical words, speaking in some gibberish language, and then the eyes open. There you go, on the side of the on the sarcophagus. It's obviously a real face, isn't it? That, but she's saying all these this spell, and we hear all the faces come to life, all gory and bloody, and screaming and roaring and groaning. Pretty cool effect. It's obviously, it's obviously a mod, what they call it, an animatronic type thing. It doesn't look really realistic, but it still looks pretty cool. There you go. Look, it looks a bit rubbery, but it's cool nonetheless. Anyway, so she does all that, and then Zusha, the sorcerer of the film's title, emerges. She says, "It lives." There you go. And he sits up. This is Richard Moll. Usually, when I see Richard Moll, I just want to laugh at him, but he does quite well in this film. He's supposed to be. He plays lots of baddies, but usually when he's playing a baddie in a film, he's still kind of goofy, isn't he? Even though he's a big fella, there's something about him that I just can't take seriously. I don't know why, but he plays quite a good role in this film. So anyway, he sits up. And he speaks lots of these and thous. What hast thou called me here for? And all that. It just gives it all that. And the witch goes and prostrates to him. That's licking the goo off him. He's come out of all this goo. And there you go. See, he's got all gnarled fingers and long alien-like fingers. And then we say, who art thou? He says. And there's a title's Cromwell, King of Aragon. And I think maybe previously the King of Aidan, but I'm not exactly sure. Because it says in the does it say? Hang on. Does it say in here? Does it? Say it. Oh, never mind. It says he wants to retake Aidan. But it's what it says in the subtitles. Not not. I think it says. I think it says conquer. I want to conquer Aidan. But in the subtitles it says something else. Not retake, but something else. But I can't remember what. Anyway. But there we go. We learn he's been defeated 4 times by King Richard, and he wants Zeus's help to conquer Aidan. But then this fella says, they go, how can we be sure a toad like you even has the power to aid us? So then he gets this witch woman. And he says, no, my lord, you are my lord, my God. But he throws her across the room. Oh, there we go, and rips her heart out. With magic, with glowing fingers, as we'll see in a minute. See if I can. So his glowing fingers. There we go. He's got his glowing fingers, and makes her heart and other organs burst out of her stomach like that in a gory fashion. Not super gory. Quite bloodless, to be honest. This film. There is some gruesomeness in it, but as a rule, it's kind of bloodless. There's a bit later on that is quite gruesome, but it's shot in a way that there's no, like I said, all this is red. I mean, you could say this could be like quite bloody, but the bit later on at the end of the film, it's quite gruesome and it would be gory if you could see the blood and redness, but it's just all the way it's shot, the lighting, it's just like black. But anyway, we'll get to that. Right, so they're employing Zusha to conquer Aiden. So off he goes. Right, off we go. And then we get some stock footage. There's lots of stock footage in this film. I think Albert Pyun was a bit miffed that he kept having to use stock footage because he'd found places or something in California that he wanted to use as like establishing shots. I don't know what of. I don't know, but I don't know. There's many. Is there a lot of castles in California? I don't know, but they use a lot of stock footage from other films. Don't ask me what they're from. Like this one, for instance. And we see another view of the castle, which it's from a Scottish castle. I think it's like Elian. No, I can't remember now. Elian Donnan Castle or something like that. Anyway, here we go. We meet King Richard with his. Is he Amish? Is he going to churn some butter in a bit? Maybe he is. Anyway, he's in his arboretum, and his missus comes along, Malia. Comes along and tells him that he's neglecting their guests because he must be having a dinner party. So off they go. But King Richard's concerned. He's obviously hearing whispers about Cromwell and his armies. But as we learn, Cromwell's armies have crossed the borders of Aidan and wiping out Richard's armies with like pestilence and all that. He's using his magic and causing diseases and all that to wipe out Richard's armies. There we go. And he thinks they can finish it himself now, just Cromwell. So he wants Zusha brought to him. Says we don't need him anymore. We've come this far. We've decimated Richard's armies. We don't need the sorcerer. So he calls him to him. Here he is. And he says, I am weary. Well, I get to the point. I am weary from all this conjuring. And says, oh, well, then you will sleep forever. And he stabs him with his knife. Looking a bit mouldy there, isn't he? But he stabs him. And then Zusha jumps off a cliff. Hang on. There we go. Hey! Now, this could be, I don't know. We could be seeing a man fall to his death here. I'm not exactly sure, but maybe we are. Maybe we are. Anyway, because the stuntman, I'm going to have to check this again because I've forgotten the details. I've gone too far, haven't I? Never mind. Where is it? Trivia. Here we go. Stuntman Jack Tyree was killed when he jumped off a cliff and missed his airbags. When asked if anyone fully determined what went wrong with the stunt, Albert Pyun said Tyree had said he jumped from that location before. Pyun added that he was a babe in the woods on his first film, and he was elsewhere at the time shooting a different scene. But I don't know if this scene itself is this. I forgot his name already. I do apologise. Jack Tyree. Is this Jack Tyree falling to his death? I don't know, but it could be for all I know. Which is kind of sad, isn't it, when you think about it? But then anyway, they think that's the end of Zusha. So anyway, Cromwell's armies race through blaze through the kingdom towards the city, and this is Richard's elder son Tavis. He comes in and he's all manky, he's all bloody. There he goes. His face is all as though it's like a disease is thrown at him. I don't know why. Because he says them like black magic. He starts saying it's black magic, but they're not using Zusha anymore, are they? So it can't be black magic. I don't know. Unless he's cast some sort of spell that carries on even without him being there. I don't know. But anyway, he dies. And see, they're all sad. And then we meet young Talon. Here he is with his nonny haircut. And so they're going to go out to meet Cromwell, but everybody thinks they're going to die. Oh, and Richard gives Talon his 3-bladed sword. And he says, it's up to you. If I fall, it's up to you to avenge me. So anyway, but Richard's army falls, and Talon arrives here, and he finds somebody called Mogullan, whoever he is, no idea. And Mogullan tells him, "You've got to save your mother and your sister. They're trying to escape by the river." I don't know why he's not there with them already. You'd think he'd be protecting them, wouldn't he? But I suppose he's gone to fight. Anyway, he sees Cromwell kill his father, and he screams, "Oh, father, no!" and all that. He says, "No, go save your mother. There you go. The future of the kingdom is in your hands." So then we cut to the river. Oh, see, I'm too far now. Look. And there you go. The Queen tells the children to run to the boat, and the little one runs to the boat, and then here she is. Not the little one, the elder one, and gets got by Cromwell's soldiers. And they take away the other one, this one, we never see again. Does she survive? I don't know. I don't know. No, I don't think she does. I think he probably killed her, Cromwell. But they take her away, and Cromwell says, if you do as I say, your daughter will survive. And she stabs him. She stabs Cromwell, saying that. And I'll spare your daughter. And she stabs him, and so he kills her. Talon sees that as well. So they go and get Talon, and he starts fighting. There goes his sword, gets knocked out of his hand. So he runs over. Oh, see, it's going to. There you go. He runs over, picks it up, and fires one of the blades at this fella. Doesn't look exactly super accurate, that, does it? But it gets him anyway. And has he got the other one? And then he gets this other one who's there with the crossbow, gets his rubber hand. Good state. The rest of the film now, we see when he's grown up, he's got a gauntlet of steel, as it's described, over his wounded hand. Certainly, Talon yelling. He's got nice teeth, hasn't he? So he finds his other blade at this other chap. There you go. And obviously rips out his hand. We don't see. We just see the aftermath. And Cromwell tells his soldiers, "Find that boy. Don't come back if you can't find him." Right. So then we cut to several years later. I think it says 11 years later. And we learn of a legendary even. There's a warrior who roams about, and he's like a warrior, a king, a general. And it turns out it's Talon. Oh, there you go. A buccaneer as well. And it's Lee Horsley as the grown-up Talon and his band of merry men. They got to go to Maladon to save King Langbosha, but Talon says he's got a debt to pay in Aedan. So they're going there first. And he says, "What about Maladon, Langbosha?" And he says, he could lose his kingdom. And Talon says, "Well, then we'll win it back," because he's very confident. Anyway, as they ride by, this fella appears from behind a bush and goes scurrying into a cave behind this waterfall. And we see Zusha's still alive. And he's got information crucial to the final conflict. So he's working for Zusha. There's lots of double dealing and double agents and triple agents in this film. So there you go, speak dog. So he tells him about Prince Micah's rebellion. Prince Micah and Princess Alana are what the people think are the rightful heirs to the throne of Aedan. But their rebellion's due to start tomorrow. Maybe it's Tuesday, I don't know. And there we go. Then he starts saying, "Cromwell's power, Cromwell's bride." I don't know why he wants the bride. "Cromwell's flesh shall be mine." He's all hamming it up. It's cool. Then we cut to more stock footage. I think this is, I can't remember, Elian Donnan Castle. I think it's that. Does it say? Hang on, let's just check. Eilean Donnan Castle. It's on a small island off the town of Darney in Scotland. I think that's what that is. But I think this is supposed to be a new castle. We saw a different castle earlier on, didn't we? And I think this is supposed to be a new castle built by Cromwell. I don't know what that wire is there. You see it? Hang on, is it showing up on there? There's a wire there. Is that for the TV aerial? Probably. So I think this is a new castle built by Cromwell, because later on we find the fella that designed it, and so there we go. Anyway, so Cromwell's standing in his arboretum, which looks like the same one that King Richard was standing in earlier, but not all beautiful and lovely. It's all dead and decaying, because that's because he's the baddie. But as you can see, 11 years have passed, so he's grown himself a little beard. Don't they believe in mustaches? Can't they have mustaches in this film? In Aidan. Anyway, this is Count Macelli. Obviously, a play on the words of like Machiavelli. They call him Macelli. He's a devious bugger. Anyway, he's come saying his generals are ready to speak to him, in the war room, and he says, "You deal with it." So he says, "Fair enough." So off they go, getting ready to crush the rebellion and capture Princess Alana and Prince Micah. This is one of the generals, very buff. It kind of reminds me of Wayne Sleep. I don't know if you know who he is. Not the body, the face. He was a dancer. Might still be, I don't know. I don't even know if he's still alive. In the, I think, 80s. He appeared on British TV a lot. In quiz shows and stuff. Anyway, so they're talking about that, about crushing the rebellion that's coming on. More stock footage of the city of Aidan, although I suspect this might be like Istanbul or somewhere like that. I suspect. Right, so here we go. Take these orders, return to your men, Rodrigo. This is Anthony de Longis, and this is supposed to be Simon McCorkindale, but it isn't. You can see it's not. If we can land on it, no. Go to just get up to it and sending word when the rebellion will begin. That's Anthony de Longis. Looks different, doesn't it? Don't look anything like Marge colour. But anyway. There we go. That's supposed to be Simon McCorkindale. Looks sod all like him. Maybe he wasn't available for that day. Or maybe it's a case of, like in Lord of the Rings, somebody else were cast, maybe, as Prince Micah, and dropped out early on. Because they did that in Lord of the Rings, didn't they? Fellowship of the Ring. The first time you see Strider, Aragorn, it's his eyes, and it's not actually Viggo Mortensen, is it? It's the fella that were cast before him and dropped out for whatever reason. So that's obviously not Simon Corkin. It's somebody else. Looks a bit like what's his face, Hugh Jackman, but I don't think it'll be him. Anyway, in enters Talon and his band, ready for a drink. There we go. They bring us a bucket of booze. Anyway, everybody's talking about this rebellion, so it's not exactly a state secret, is it? They're all saying rebellion's going to spark off. You can either fight for the king or you can fight for the Prince Micah. This is a drunk saying he doesn't know what sort of animal Talon is, so Talon knocks him out. Anyway, so there was what legitimate heir? Because obviously he's the legitimate heir, isn't he? But he don't want to be king, So he ends up fighting for Prince Micah and Princess Alana, even though they're not really princess. Now this is Simon McCorkindale. Tell his massive eyes and his soap-blocked teeth that we see in a bit. But anyway, he comes around this corner and he meets Macelli, who's, you can tell he's devious and a bit of a baddie, can't you? But he's pretending. Spoilers, by the way. He's pretending to work. He's being in league with Micah, but he's not really. He's also pretending to be in league with King Cromwell, but he's got his own plans. And there we go. And there's a little bit here where I don't know if they just didn't block it out well, but Micah, when they've done talking, Micah says he like gestures for him to go in this like a kingly way, I suppose you could say. But you don't really, you don't really see it. If you can catch it. They were telling him, "You'll be rewarded." Thank you, Your Majesty. And he does this little gesture for him to carry on. You go like that, but you don't really see it. because, and I thought that's weird because Michelli does it to Micah in a few minutes, and you thought that they made it so you clearly saw it, don't you? But anyway, never mind. Right, so off they go. He's going to talk to his sister. There you go. They meet there, and they've got plans of the castle from Elizabeth, who is King Cromwell's whore. There's lots of words like that, whore and wench and other stuff in this film. As I said, it's not PC in the slightest. There you go. They've got the information from Elizabeth, and he Micah says, I keep forgetting the bloody names. Micah says, with friends like these, how can we now? With allies like these, how can we fail? Famous last words. And as he says that, you see that bugger. We saw him earlier, didn't we? Talking to Zusha. Tell you, all sorts of double dealing going on. But they're all happy. And but then Cromwell marches in, the door gets kicked down, and easily defeats Micah and takes him away. There you go. Your rebellion is over. Takes him away. Alana stabbed a guard and ran out, and they said go after her. But as they're taking Micah out, this is the scene we're talking about. We see Michelli, and he does that little gesture for him to go by, like Micah did, but to him a couple of minutes earlier. But you don't really see it. Here we go. As he looks up at him, foreboding music. There you go. You don't really, don't really see it. He does bow a little bit as well, I suppose. But anyway, whatever. Right, so Alana runs down a dead end and says, "Oh no!" And then this soldier here, who kind of reminds me of Alice Cooper for some reason. I don't know if he's played. I don't think he's played by Alice Cooper. He says, "Now I stab you with my dagger." So it's basically going to, do the R word on her. There you go, poke you with my dagger. So they're going to. She knees him in his ghoulies, and they get her down on the floor. Across the baddies. But then Talon comes round the corner, and the fella says, "Beat it, dog, or die." And so he says, "That's a small threat." And then he looks and says, "That's a very small threat." Obviously on about is Jimmy Riddler. So he easily dispatches these three of Cromwell's men. So he saved Alana. There we go. He lifts her up with his strong gauntlet of steeled hand. There we go. So he saved the girl. So he takes her to or she takes him to this place. Is this Jeff Corey? Is that his name? I can't remember. I think we saw him in Battle Beyond the Stars. Yes, it is, isn't it? Right, where she learns that Mike has been captured by Cromwell. So she sits down with Talon and says, "Can you save him?" He says, "Well, what shall I be paid?" And she says, 200 talents. And he says, "I wasn't thinking of that." And she says, 500. And then he said, "I was thinking of something else." And she says, "All right, anything you want for one night." You know what I mean? There you go. So he's eating his beef. And he says he'll do it. But then we learn, that's her saying, looking coy and saying, "Oh, anything you want, but for only one night." And a bounty perfumed and pretty, because we learned that 50 of their soldiers, who were really just farmers, really, are trapped in caves by Cromwell's Red Dragon archers. And she says, "Well, can you go and save them?" And says, "How much am I to be paid for this little task?" And she says, "You're being paid enough for 1,000 such tasks." And he says, "You hang on, there we go. That's what it. Hang on. What does he say? I'm going to see it. There we go. That's what he says. He's raised his expectations. He gets a kiss. He gets a kiss to send him to his grave, as he says, and he goes off to save them. And he says, "Who is that animal?" "I don't know." "We know." But then, as he's gone, must have just walked round the corner and missed these guys. They break the door down. They're always kicking doors in this film, and they come in and they take Alana, kill Jeff Corey. I think that is Jeff Corey. I better check, Hunter. Make sure it is. Make sure it is. Yes, it is Jeff Corey. As Krakus, that's the character's name. And they take Alana away. So both of them are being captured now. Micah's in Cromwell's dungeon. Alana's off to, to be married to him. She's the Dale Arden of the film. Anyway, so here we go. These are Cromwell's Red Dragon archers with their general, who's in his sparkly jewel-encrusted armor and hamming it up. Come out and live or stay and die. How he talks. Very dramatic. There they are, all lined up. So there you go. The king is your leader in chains, and there's Rodrigo. And you can see the weapons that they've got. They've got like rakes and pitchforks and stuff, and the odd spear. But anyway, so they're using these slaves to pour oil into the cave entrance. They're going to burn them out. And but he throws a spear at one, kills him. He didn't want to be there. They didn't have to kill him. But anyway, they're going to stand by for torching. So they're going to light all their flaming arrows in dramatic fashion. There we go, like that. Psh, 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 psh. Bit dramatic, but never mind. And they go, this is your final chance. But Talon's pouring whatever that is, oil, and sets it alight and sets all the archers on fire. So they go running away, dying. And Talon saved them, Rodrigo and his men. So they're going now. He's got to go and save Micah now, hasn't he? He doesn't know Alana's being captured, by the way. So he's got to go and save Micah now. And Rodrigo says there's a way through the sewers entrance into the castle. So they're going through this grating. In they go. Meanwhile, Cromwell is going to talk to Alana. There she is. She doesn't want anything to do with him, but she uses her womanly wiles again. There you go. To try and seduce him so she can get close to knee him in the ghoulies. She likes doing that. It's her thing. And there you go. Cromwell grunting because he's just been nailed in the ghoulies. So he gives her a slap and then he draws his sword, but doesn't kill her, obviously. Then, love or not, you will be my queen. And so she's not happy. Then we meet Elizabeth. This is Elizabeth who got the plans to the castle. She's not a Bothan. She's gone to the dungeon and with some food. And then we see Cromwell's there and he's watching. I don't know the name of this actor. I forgot. We've seen him in everything. Let's see if I can see his name. I don't know. It's not got his name. Why ain't he? He should be quite high up because he's super famous, isn't he? Is it him? Robert Tessier. Is that him? Yes, it is. Robert Tessier's Verdugo. Seen him in everything, haven't we? From, Star Crash to other things. He's torturing Micah. There you can see Micah's being tortured, strung up. And she's brought Cromwell some food. She's his consort. But Verdugo's having a bit too much fun torturing Micah. But Cromwell thinks Micah is Zorcer in disguise. There you go. Micah says Zorcer of Delos died 1,000 years ago. But Cromwell says, no, I woke him myself. Hello, Josh Temple. Welcome to the show. Oh, I haven't done my thing for a while, have I? Hang on just a minute. Where is it? I've done that for a while, have I? Oh, dear. Right, where were we? He himself awoke Zorcer and used him to take over Aidan, but little did he know what he let loose upon the world. And Micah says he's the only leader of this rebellion. So there we go. And he ends up calling him mad. You're mad, perhaps. But, anyway, meanwhile, going through these caves. I don't know if this is a set or if these is the Bronson Cave. I don't know, because the Bronson Cave isn't very deep, is it? I think it's only a few yards, isn't it, through a hill? But I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe it's a set. They're going through, and this old fella starts stumbling, and he gets help from this actor here, who we've seen him in stuff. I think he gets killed in. I think he's in Lost World, Jurassic Park, Lost World. And I think he gets got by dinosaurs in that as well. He gets got by rats in this one. So it was loads of rats come. Some killer rats, apparently. I don't know why they're killer rats. They come and get everybody. Here we go. Look, they're getting them. Don't know why these rats are particularly dangerous. They just are. But Talon does his trick again with more of this oil that just happens to be there. And he sets fire to them. There you go. Sets fire to him. But looks like, luckily, the cameraman got past in time, didn't he? Anyway, right. So the breakthrough, but another chamber. Now they're in the castle. Now they're out of the cave. They're in the castle, and what's his face? Rodrigo says, "We'll wait here and guard the escape route." And Talon says, "Okay." So he sets off, but then they get captured immediately. We'll see. There we go. They get captured immediately. But never mind. Anyway, meanwhile, we have lots of hijinks with Talon fighting guards and doing all sorts of stuff. And he gets a disguise. He goes into the dungeon. There we go. With bright music. And he sees that Rodrigo has been captured. There he is. So he frees them. He says he should leave them there. But he frees them. And this is the old fella that built the castle, and Cromwell had him imprisoned. Why didn't he just have him killed? He had him imprisoned so he wouldn't tell anybody the secrets. Not that we see any secrets, not that I've noticed anyway. Anyway, it looks a bit like Burgess Meredith, doesn't he, after a night on a bender. But there we go. Right, so this is Cromwell being told that the dungeon guards are dead and all the prisoners are gone. But Talon's on his way to save Micah. So they're going to deal with that. And this guard walks up and Cromwell says, "Kill everyone in that chamber now, even poor Elizabeth." So obviously we're going to kill Micah now. But luckily for us, this is Talon. Anyway, so she's going to save Micah now. She's undoing him. But then Talon arrives. There we go. So there he's carrying out Micah. And there's a go before it's too late. But then he has more hijinks and running through the castle, fighting guards and all that. Oh, we'll have to be quick here now. I think this is a bit where he swings through a window and encounters Cromwell's harem or harem, however you pronounce it. I'll have to be quick. Or maybe it's not yet. It's coming up soon. There we go. Oh, gonna have to be quick. Bit of side boob there we got, didn't we? So there we go. So oh, that's this is Kathleen Bella's body double being oiled up. So he's still fighting, and then he sees. Oh, hang on, gone too far. He's fighting this fella. Then he looks round and he sees there's Alana, who is supposed to be. She's his pay, but she's there in the castle. So he's distracted and gets knocked out the window, and he lands on some sacks. So he carries on. More fighting happens, running through alleyways and corridors and stuff. But then he gets captured or whatever. And so he has a fight with Cromwell. There we go. But Cromwell, because Cromwell thinks everybody's Zusha. But then Talon obviously recognizes him as the man who killed his father and his mother and his sisters. Says, you know, I'm no sorcerer, but I'll gladly test your steel. There you go. So they have a bit of a fight now. He gets his big sword out. This is the best sword in the film. Super strong and powerful, you know, even more than his three-bladed one, which he's not using here, by the way. So that they're fighting away, and they end up in the water and still fighting. And Michelli stops the fight by knocking out Talon with something. He knocks him out. So, and he says, you know, if it's one of Zeus's demons, you know, I had to save you and all that. So Cromwell, we're going to kill him. Anyway, so Alan's being captured. Cut to a bit more stock footage or footage from another film of people with camels. God knows why. But it's obviously somewhere in Aden, obviously. So it seems like Aden is some Middle Eastern country, doesn't it? It seems to be. You know, it must be a play on Eden, you know, which allegedly was somewhere in, you know, Mesopotamia, wasn't it? Somewhere, allegedly. Anyway, so they're dealing with Micah's wounds and seeing to him. And then they've learned that, I said, Talon is going to be crucified at the big feast. Because apparently all the local kings, I don't know how many of them, but there's a few of them. Look, the kings bordering Adan are going to be, excuse me, going to be at a big feast. And Talon's going to be crucified at that feast. So, you know, there we go. Also, they're there for the wedding, not just the feast, it's the wedding of Cromwell to Alan. So they're gonna, you know, deal with that. Meanwhile, we see the rest of Talon's men. Don't ask me the names. I can't remember. I have no idea. Let's have a look. Does it tell us any? We've got Malcolm, Philip, Barbara, Quaid, Darius. I don't know which is which. But we're going to meet Captain Morgan soon. Earl Maynard, who I've never heard of, never seen in anything else. But he was a bodybuilder and is a bodybuilder, professional wrestler from Barbados, right? But he's hilarious in this. I think he is, just because he's a terrible actor. But he looks the part. Anyway, there we go. So this is where his men are learning that he's being captured. So they've got to go and save him. I said, we don't have enough men. But here comes Captain Morgan, an old cohort of Talons. There he is. I don't know if he's got a Hammond organ. Maybe he has. I don't know. So they're going to join in and help. And I think Elizabeth is there. There she is. Elizabeth arrives. So she can get him into the castle. We must save him and all that. So, but then they immediately get captured, apparently. We should not have followed. Look, the derogatory names to ladies in this film. Lots of them. So they're not happy that they're being captured and they're in the cells. And then Verdugo arrives, looking bad. And he's got Elizabeth. There we go. And one of the other men, and he's cut out their tongues because they didn't want to talk. And they say, you know, tell us what you know, or, you know, we'll kill her, skin her before your very eyes. But Elizabeth kills herself. She grabs his sword and kills herself. And the other fella, kills him as well. That's him doing that, look. And so they're not happy. And he backs away. There's Verdugo as they're growling at him from behind the bars. Anyway, this is what we're learning, what's going to happen during the feast and during the wedding. They're going to assassinate all the kings and lords. Why not kill him and yourself? Well, I don't think she had a chance to kill him because they were holding the sword to her stomach, so she killed herself. So she couldn't be skinned alive, I suppose. Anyway, are you talking to me? Should I kill myself? Should I self-delete? No. Anyway, so we learn that the plan is they're going to kill all the local kings and probably, you know, take over their kingdoms as well. So rule the world and all that. And So that's what they're going to do. Is this John Ratzenberger? I don't think it is. It just reminds me of John Ratzenberger. Let's have a look. I don't think it is. Let's look at the IMDb cast and crew. It won't be John Ratzenberger. It can't be, can it? All cast and crew. Let's have a look. See if his name's there. If his name's there, it'd be amazing. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Anyway. Right, so they're doing all that plan. When they're going to have archers ready, his archers. When Alana says her vows, that's when they're going to kill all the kings and lords at the feast. And there you go. And there you go. It says Cromwell is a genius, and then Michelli looks at him with scary eyes. You ready? Dun dun dun! Foreboding music because he's a baddie. I do like the House franchise that he's in with George Wendt, but not together. No, he was in the third one, wasn't he? I think, which had nothing to do with the other two. Apparently, it wasn't even supposed to be a House film, was it? House 3. I think it was in House 3. But that wasn't even a house. It was just called House 3, wasn't it? It had nothing to do with the previous two. I like the first one. I'm not a big fan of the second one. My son likes the second one. But I like the first one. Anyway. Right, so Michelli's looking at them evilly and making them uncomfortable because for. Right, so here the kings are coming in now and being wined and dined. But there's Talon strung up and gagged, crucified and gagged. They're all having fun. And then we see these two. I don't know who are these. Who's going to tell us who these are? See, he looks familiar. The one on the left. Then let's have a look. See if it tells us. I don't know which is which. There's King Leonidas of Sparta. I don't think so, but anyway, Peter Breck, King Sancho, King Ludwig, King Charles. I don't know any of those names. Sorry, so I don't know. But he's got a great hairdo, hasn't he? Him on the him. Is that a wig? Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. Anyway, he says, him on the left, whoever it is, King Leonidas, maybe. I don't know. He says, is that Chief Talon? He calls him Chief Talon. Obviously, he's a chieftain as well. And there you go. That's his saying that. Damn, I thought that was a fur hat. Well, it could be. Yes, it could be. What they call it? Oh, I can't remember the bloody name now. Never mind. You know what I mean. So it says, is that Chief Talon? And they say, he's saved our kingdom, umpteen times. Can't have him being butchered by, an idiot like Cromwell. And so the other king says, it'll mean that it'll be war. Says, well, then let it be war. There we go. There we go. Let it be war. So they're going to save Talon in a minute. But meanwhile, the wedding's going to go on, and there's Cromwell with his crown on, and all the archers are getting ready to kill everybody. The cardinal arrives to do the vows, and here comes Alana, looking very voluptuous. She's getting ready, and should have Brian May, shouldn't they, doing the wedding march like in Flash Gordon. But anyway. So they're getting ready to do all that, and he's speaking all his Latin and all that stuff. Meanwhile, some of these ladies that we saw earlier without their tops on have put their tops back on, and they come to save everybody. There we go. Who is here to help the barbarian with the gauntlet of steel? So all of them. There we go. Unlock this door, wench. Why can't we call them that anymore? They just get upset, don't the women these days, if you call them wenches. They love it, really. So off they go. and getting the weapons and stuff. It's on getting the weapons out of the arsenal or whatever. Meanwhile, we cut to Verdugo, who's back in his torture chamber, sharpening. Come on, there you go. Sharpening his whatevers with his little grinding wheel. But Captain Morgan comes up behind him. Oh, he's about to torture this young lady, whoever she is. And there we go. Morgan grabs hold of him and he forces his head down on the grinding wheel. Is it going to show us? I've probably gone past it. It's another bit of gruesomeness. Is it going to show? It doesn't show it. There we go. It implies it. Look, head grinding and blood spraying. So he's grinding his head off, which is cool. Meanwhile, back at the feast, the wedding vows are still going on. She's about to say "I do," because she's got no choice. She should be like Melody Anderson in Flash Gordon and saying "I do not," shouldn't she? But anyway, so meanwhile, while all this is going on, what's his face? Talon is freeing himself. He's pulling his hand out, his hand out off the cross. It's not really a cross, it's an X, isn't it? Off the out of the wood. He's got big, massive nails through his hand. So he's got big holes in his hand. I mean, he's got a hole in one hand anyway, so that's fine. But there we go. We see he's pulling his hand out, freeing himself, and she's about to say "I do," and then he frees his hand and obviously takes the gag out, and there we go, and shouts "Cromwell!" There we go. He's got himself out. Just as she's saying "I do," and then he shouts "Cromwell!" There's Talon, and all the archers are about to shoot, and then all the soldiers and everybody appears and fighting starts. There you go. People are jumping about and swinging swords, and all the kings. There we go. Small world, your majesty. There we go. And the fighting abounds. It's tough, isn't it? I mean, he takes the nails out, so he'd have big holes in his hand, but you don't see these big holes in his hand. So, I don't know. Maybe he's got a back to patch or something. I don't know. But anyway, fighting goes on. There's a bit of gruesomeness, actually. See if we can land on it. Missed it. Probably the most gory thing in the film. If we can get to it, show us. I'm not exactly sure where it is. I've gone past it. I think I've gone past it, to be honest. Have a look. Come in here. You go to grab them. See, just saved all the kings and lords. Then I don't know which is it. Darius. Darius gets this fella. There's Captain Morgan leaping onto somebody. He doesn't have a big spear. Oh, here we go. This is the one where he gets a sword to the face. This bit of film. So anyway, so all this fighting goes on. Sword clanging. Fighting aplenty. Obviously, what's it then? More dramatic music and slow motion. And all that. Has got to go and get a. He's got his sword as well now. He's got one of his men threw him his sword. And so he's got to go and save Alana now. She's been taken away by, excuse me, by Cromwell. And Machelli, who's there as well. But the headed off at the pass by Talon. And so they start fighting. And, the soldiers, he smashes the soldiers' swords, as you saw in the trailer, with his excuse me, with his three-bladed sword. I haven't got a drink. I forgot to get a drink out. But Machelli frees Alana and says, "We've got to get you to safety." So he's still trying to make out that, he's a good guy. So one of the guards is going to try and kill Talon. Obviously, he doesn't, because all Rodrigo and all them arrive and save the day. There you go, saving the day. So Talon goes off after Cromwell, because Cromwell goes after Michelli as well. And Cromwell goes after them, and so Talon goes after them. Oh, cracky. Right, so they end up somewhere, some cavern underneath the castle, I suppose. She's obviously not dressed for it, is she? But so I don't know where he's taking her. Presumably to his cave that's somewhere. I don't know. But he grabs her by the throat, and then she tries to use. He's lying to her, saying Michael is dead. And so he is the power, and she tries to use her womanly wiles again. But it doesn't work on Michelli. He says the choice is yours. So she tries to seduce him and knees him in his groin, but you just hear her as though it's wood. So obviously, being a sorcerer, he has no need for his bits and bobs. So then he has. This is the scene I were on about, where it could have been quite gruesome, but the way they filmed it, there isn't like red blood or anything coming out. He's emerging, and it's just quite gruesome. You see, he pulls his head apart. Good effect. Good practical effects. And Zusha, he says Zorsha, then Zorsha were from Willow, weren't you? Zusha comes out. There he is. And there you go, using his fingers on her. There you go. To hypnotize her. But then Cromwell arrives. I don't know what he's been doing. Because it was right behind him, wasn't there? So, unless he got distracted. So Cromwell arrives and is so distracts Zusha. So they have a little bit of a back and forth. Meanwhile, this snake is going to go and get Alana. Zusha's doing his magic on Cromwell, making his eyes bleed and all that. Speaking of Alice Cooper, makes him look like Alice Cooper. Or Colin Grigson, take your pick. So he's using his magic on Cromwell, but then Talon appears and he says, I have no beef with you, or whatever. Words to them, that effect. He says, Cromwell is mine. And Zusha says, Cromwell is mine. He says, okay, now we have a problem. So, but then he starts using his magic on Talon as well. There you go. Starts bleeding out of his ears and his nose and all that. But he uses his sword. We're going to see it. Hang on, gone too far. Uses his sword and gets Zusha. Is that the end of Zusha? Probably not. By the way, where does he get these replacement blades? I don't know. Does he have a maid, or can you get them off Amazon? Meanwhile, the python or boa constrictor, whatever the hell it is, don't ask me, is wrapping itself around Alana. Right, so they're going to have a fight now. Is Cromwell and Talon? So he's looking very heavy metal in that. I say Alice Cooper or King Diamond sort of thing. I don't know. So, I say I've missed a bit now already. I think, have we? No, we haven't. No, we haven't. So it's good they're going to have a fight, and he lifts his sword up, and you think he's going to fire the blade at Cromwell, but he doesn't. He fires it into the wall. There you go. So they're going to have a fair fight. No. And then he does his. It reminds me of Colin Grigson. Rick Mail as Colin Grigson. So they're fighting away, and there we go. Lots of sparks. There's a way they do that, isn't there? Did they like have batteries or something in the hilt, and so the blade's electrified, and as they clash, they make sparks come off. Something like that, isn't it? I think. Anyway, so they do that. So they're having a fight, but as we see, Cromwell's sword is amazing, and it breaks his blade off his three-bladed sword. There we go. But it's cool, and he just pulls the top off, as you see here, the broken blade, and reveal another blade underneath. Tell you, great, and it's like a Swiss Army sword. So they're fighting away, and all right, then he. Have I missed a bit? I've missed a bit with him using. I've been a bit. I've gone past it, or it might not be here yet. He gets his staff, and his staff's got knives and stuff and blades coming out of it. And meanwhile, Alana's getting got by this snake. And oh, here we go. This is the bit with he gets his big sword back. There's Cromwell, and he's just whacking at this rock. Cuts through this rock. Tell you, it's a cool sword. Nothing can break it. Is it made from vibranium or something? I don't know. Adamantium. Anyway, but about to there we go. Oh, there we go. Gone too far. Doing all that, but then apparently Talon is an assassin from Assassin's Creed because he's got a hidden blade, as we see in a minute. Do it like this because the skip thing is too skips too far. He's about to do him, and then he's stabs him with this long blade that goes all the way through his body. But anyway, but so he's that's the end of Richard. So he's being stabbed with his Assassin's Creed blade. And go on, man. And as he drops to his knees, he says, "Who are you?" with his Alice Cooper stuff. And he says, "Talon, son of Richard." But then Talon note, and then he laughs. Hang on, he's like, nice. But then Talon sees Alana's plight, so he gets up and gets up and chops the head off the snake. There you go, off the. It's a real snake, honest. Dear. Is it wrong? Is it a wrong opinion to think this is better than Conan? No, it's not. It's you know what I think of Conan. Although I didn't mind it because we did it, didn't we, on Monday Morn, one of my early ones, wasn't it? And you know, I said it was a film I didn't like, and then we went through it, and I thought, well, actually, I didn't mind it in the end, did I? I didn't mind it, but I like this better. I think this is more fun, and it's got more magic in it, I think, than Conan has. But Conan's probably a better made film, to be honest. But this isn't bad. This isn't bad. Sorry about that, Josh. CG has brought some films to life, but it's way too overused. I love practical effects better. Yeah, well, yeah, so do I. So CG is good in moderation. It's good for hiding things, I think, or embellishing things. Well, it's better off having a practical effect that's like enhanced by CG rather than just have a full CG effect. It's good for like getting rid of wires or stuff like that, you know, covering things up. That's what CG is good for. Anyway, right, so everything's lovely and they're all nice. Look, they're all safe, but then we get one last jump scare. Minute. There we go. Zeus. Oh, pardon me. Zeus roaring. He sits up. So Talon stabs him with his Assassin's Creed blade. Psh, there we go. And Zeus is properly dead now, I hope. You never know. Maybe he ain't. I don't know. Were he in the sequel? I can't actually remember. Tales of an Ancient Empire. Anyway, so he's dead in this film. So there we go. So we cut back to who the hell is this? From Mad Max or something? There's an extra from Mad Max there. We cut back to the feast, and everything's calmed down. The goodies have won. There you go. All the other guards are dead with limbs hacked off, just sitting there on his knee, just balanced. And anyway, so there we go. They're all covered in blood, and oh, there we go. As we're looking at Micah, Simon McCorkindale there. There you go. The crown drops down in a minute when it's ready. Come on, there you go. I'd have a new crown made, to be honest. I wouldn't have Cromwell's crown. I'd go find Richard's crown if it's knocking about, or I'd have a new one made. I wouldn't want Cromwell's because it looks bad, doesn't it? It looks like an evil crown. Anyway, Windgrace says, I feel that CG somehow peaked like 10 years ago and has looked worse and worse ever since. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe so, yes, maybe so. Anyway, it is overused. Right, so he gives he's given the crown to what's his face, to Mike, and I think she says to him, you know, you could keep the crown for yourself. I think she does say that. Hang on. Here we go. Oh no, never mind. Before that, might be before that. Oh, there we go. He wants it. He doesn't want to be king, you know, because a king's never truly free, is he? So, and he wants to be free. So they're going to go off and do their business to attend to. So he does a swing across the chamber in swashbuckling style. In a minute, you know, he'll do it. There we go. Whee! I don't think that's Lee Horsley and Kathleen Bella, do you? I wonder where this is. It's obviously some building, isn't it? But the headdress reminds me of Sam Carter in SG1 Emancipation. Ooh. that the worst episode ever. But yeah, I suppose it does look a bit like that, doesn't it? Which was on last night, so I watched it. It's a terrible episode, though, isn't it? It is really bad. But still good. It's still watchable, but you know, compared to the rest of SG1, it's not a good one. It's the Code of Honor episode, isn't it, of SG1. Let's just make sure we're still going, by the way. We'll be doing all these clips, but yes, we're still okay. I'll just better make sure there's no messages on Rumble. No, not that I can see. And yes, we're all fine. So right, off we go. Right, so they swing across. They'll have to do the dirty. So there we go. There we cut now to. They're on a cliff top. The debt's been paid, General? So yes, it has. So they've got to go off and save King Lambosha or whatever into Maladon. But here comes Rodrigo. He wants to join up. So that's when we learn that there are kingdoms to save and women to love or whatever. So they all go off, riding off into the sunset, literally. And there we go. And that's the end. Watch for Talon's next adventure, Tales of the Ancient Empire, coming soon. Which was like 30 years later, wasn't it? 82, 92, 02, yeah. 2012. And it was rubbish. So there we go. That's the end of the Sword and the Sorcerer. And there you go. There's the cast. And it's a good cast. And they do well. It's a right name, isn't it? Joe Regalbuto. Got one of them. I've seen him in something else and I don't know what. Let me just check. I'm going to have to check now. If I can find him on IMDb. He's got one of those faces where I've seen him on something before. Let's have a look. I bet I haven't. Oh, he's in Raw Deal, the Arnold Schwarzenegger film. So maybe I know him from that. Lots of TV is done. Which is probably true for a lot of this cast. Yeah, lots of TV, not many films. Some TV movies. Yeah, he's been in everything. But Raw Deal, the Arnie film, so I might have seen him in that. Oh, Street Hawk. I think that's where I remember him from. He played like the mechanic or something or whatever, or something. Norman Tuttle in Street Hawk. Yeah, I think that's where I remember him from. Street Hawk. I used to like that when I was a kid. Yeah, that's probably where I remember him from. Street Hawk. God knows why, because that was bloody rubbish. Anyway, so there we go. That's the end of Sword and Sorcerer. I really like that film. Get rid of that. Put myself up there. There we go. Windgress says, was a cool film. It is a cool film. Go and find it. I don't know if it's on any streaming or anything like that. Say I've got the DVD and a digital copy. But I don't know if it's streaming anywhere. Makes me want to sit down and watch it this weekend. What, this or Street Hawk? Anyway, hang on, let me get rid of that. It's putting me off. There we go. Hey, just bear with me. Right, just sorting my desktop out. Right. Yeah, it's a good film. It's a good film. Like I say, I don't know if it is on. I'm going to check that now. See if it's on any streaming. It could be on Amazon. Let me check. Although I've noticed on Amazon in the UK. Let me check Amazon Prime. Prime Video. Where are you? Sword and the Sorcerer. The only Sword and the Sorcerer they had was the Rift Tracks version. See if that's still true. Sorcerer. Spell it, by the way, they spelled Sorcerer wrong. It should be Sorcerer, shouldn't it? Oh no, it is on. Well, in the UK at least, it is on Amazon to buy or rent. But this is the Rift Tracks version. The original version. Hang on, I'm going to show you. I'll share it. I'll share this. I'll share this screen. I'll do it full screen. Bear with me. There we go. Right, you can't see. There's. Oh, hang on. I'm going to cover something up. I know what I'll do. I know what I'll do. Bear with me. We're getting there. We're getting there. I know what I'll do. We'll do it this way, a different way. Then I can snip out. It's got my address on, you see. That's you don't see my address, do you? Right, so we'll do it that way. Do it that way. View full screen edit. No, that doesn't do it. No, that's not right. Hang on. What have I done wrong? See, I've done something wrong. I don't have to get out of it now. Oh dear. How do I get back? How do I get back? View. There we go. Anyway, we'll do it this way. Right. There we go. It's on the Sorcerer. There we go. On Prime Video. Oh, I haven't saved it. Oh, there we go. There we go. $2.49 to rent, $6.99 to buy in British pounds. The proper version, but the Rift Tracks version is $3.99 to rent and $10.99 to buy. So the Rift Tracks version is more expensive than the original. Mental. Anyway. Windgrace says in the US it is Pluto, Tubi, Sling, Roku, Voodoo, Crackle, Amazon, and Plex. Oh, right. I don't think we get Tubi over here. We get Pluto. I've not checked Pluto TV, and I've got Plex, but I never use it. I use it for streaming from my computer to my TV, but I don't actually use the app for all that stuff. Josh says, so I'm going to sit and watch this Saturday, I think. Yes, so you should. It's a cool film. Also says it's on YouTube for $1.99. Is it? Oh, pardon me. Let's have a look on YouTube then. Let's say it might be different in the UK. Let's have a look. So down the Sorcerer. If it's available to buy. How do I check? I don't give you that option, does it? In the if you go into the filters, how if it's there to buy. It's a bit stupid, isn't it? It's a bit stupid. I don't know. But anyway, whatever. So there you go. So you can check it on all those platforms, all those that Windgrace says. If you're in the US, let's say if you're in the UK, it's on Amazon. You can rent it for a couple of quid. I might buy it actually. I might buy it for $6.99 because this will be HD, won't it? Because obviously that's not HD, is it? Although, is there a commentary on this? No, there isn't. Apparently, I think on the Blu-ray there's a commentary from Albert Pyun, and I don't think there is on the DVD. Anyway, whatever. Someone also has a non-official version on YouTube. You see a lot of that, don't you, on YouTube? I don't know how they get away with it. You see a lot of full films on YouTube, and I think Why are they staying on there? I don't get it. I put something up and straight away copyright claim. But yet these other channels just get away with it. Anyway, we'll leave it there. We will leave it there. What's next? Wednesday is my news. And another ghost video that I'll find. But that's on Wednesday at the same time in news. Friday is Appointment with Fear Night. And this week we're doing Event Horizon, starring Sam Neill, Lawrence Fishburne, Sean Pertwee, Jason Isaacs, Jolie Richardson, and some others. Kathleen Quinlan as well. And so that's Friday. And I've yet to decide what's happening next week. Speaking of copyright stuff, I don't get it. I got a claim for using 80 seconds of an Enterprise ad from 2001. Ha! Had to cut off 3 seconds. Yeah. It's mental. It's potluck, innit? It's potluck. You never know what's going to happen on YouTube. Anyway, I've been having problems, speaking of uploading stuff, with Spotify recently. Getting a lot of my videos saying upload failed. It just says upload failed for some weird reason. I don't know why. But I've just downloaded. I don't know if it's to do with the format of the videos that I download from StreamYards. But if I convert it using some new software I just found called Handbrake, which is free video conversion software, and it's pretty quick as well. I can convert it on there, and it works. So anyway, that's by the by. But it just says on Spotify, it just says, upload failed. It doesn't tell you why. There's a little information thing, but you click on it and nothing happens. But that's by the by. Anyway, right. So we're going to leave it there. So thanks, Wingrace. Thanks, Josh. And thanks, Archmage Frey, that mysterious man from Twitch. And thanks to my brother who popped in to say hello. I'll show his thing again. There you go. Hello, bro. That's my brother, my big brother. Popping in to say hello. I don't know if he's still here. Is he still here? Is he going to say anything? Don't know. He could still be there. But my brother likes films like this. He'll watch anything, my brother, though. He was saying, what was he saying now? I was watching a film the other day. I can't remember what it was. And I said, it's a terrible film. And he says, it's not that bad. I said, yeah, it is. And I can't remember what film it was now. What was it now? I can't remember. Never mind. Anyway, right. So, yes, you take care too. Thanks for joining in. And we'll leave it there. And so until wherever you are, look after each other. And until next time, I'll see thee.